Hey, very special podcast for you today. We get right into the interview, and so I wanted to preface it with an introduction. So I'm interviewing Anthony Diehl today. He's a fitness and diet coach, he's an entrepreneur, and he's very strong. He won the America's Strongest Man competition in 2020. Our conversation very naturally split into two parts, and so I decided to split it up into two different podcast episodes. And so in this first half, you're going to hear us talk about fitness and health and diet and entrepreneurship. And in the second episode, after this one, you'll hear us talk about more theological issues. So stay tuned for that and enjoy the interview. You're listening to the Spare No Arrows podcast, a show that equips Christians to stand against our anti-Christian culture. My name's Cody Lawrence, and I'm here to discuss culture, politics, theology, and building Christendom for the glory of God with courage, biblical truth, and sound doctrine.
So I've been coaching for 10 years and never thought I would be doing this. It literally just kind of happened into this. And thus far, to this point, I've been successful individually, but now naturally I'm thinking, and it's funny because it's that post-millennial bent that got me thinking of like, well, I want to build generational wealth for my family. And I started coaching a guy from our church who's a deacon, and he is very successful CEO of a company. And he basically approached me this time last year and was like, hey, how much time are you putting in per week? And I'm like, man, probably about 20 hours a week, really. And I'm making a great living for my family. I'm like super comfortable. Everything is good. Wow. But he's like, yeah, you're not doing enough. And I'm like, what? I'm good. I'm comfortable. He's like, it's not about that. He was like, you have a responsibility to use your talents and your gifts, to affect other people. And he's like, he's like 20 hours a week, you have so much more bandwidth. And I'm like, well, I don't really know what to do with my company. I don't know how to take it further. Like I've kind of peaked as to what I can do individually, how much I can handle and all of that. And so he was the one who really started to push me to think bigger. And then one of my best friends, Andy, also goes to our church. And I feel blessed too. Our church is, and I think there's something there with the post-millennial thought, is full of so many business owners and entrepreneurially minded men who are just trying to build and conquer. And so he has been involved in many different business startups, done venture capital. So we're sitting down there at the cigar shop one day and he's like, tell me about what you do. And I tell him and he just takes a big drag on his cigar and he's like, your business model's trash and you can do so much better. So he kind of pushed me to start thinking differently as well. So I started to read more broadly in just business world, marketing, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And kind of took a little bit of Alex Hormozi and Russell Brunson and Gary Vee and a bunch of stuff and kind of started retooling my approach to business and doubled my income from last April until July. Like it's a few months. It was wild.
Is this with coaching your own personal clients still? I know you're wanting to start coaching
That's right.
coaches. So
That's right.
Was that just you by yourself or the other stuff you added?
Yeah. So this is all just coaching other people. So I got to the point in July where I hired my first person. Okay. And I'm on 3 right now and I'm getting ready to tomorrow meet with a 4th. And to start bringing them on. And I've got Taylor, the first girl that I hired. She's doing fantastically. She's up to about 25 clients. I hired Aaron a month ago. And when November's all said and done, he'll probably have 10 to 15. And so I'm just trying to build them up, right? So then that's one wing of the business is I'm teaching and mentoring these guys, which in many areas, they're better than me, right? I'm trying to find people who are better than me at certain aspects. Aaron is... great dude, family guy, 40 years old, all-time world record holding powerlifter, new believer, got baptized like 8 weeks ago. Super cool. Just a salt of the earth dude. Infinitely better at strength programming than I will ever be. And so cool. Now I have a guy on the team who's better than me at that. I took a couple of my clients who are powerlifters. I was like, hey, I want you to work with Aaron. He is going to get you farther than I could. And him being successful is a success for me, right? Like I'm vested in their success because then the business grows. So I'm able to help them make money, provide for their families while my business grows and scales because now I'm handling a volume of clientele I could never handle on my own. So with that, to this point, my business has just been built off of me, my personality, whatever else. So now I want to build something that's not based on me, right? That is based on our shared mission and core values. And I want to build something up and train a bunch of people. And honestly, I want to build something that in 10, 15 years I could sell if I wanted to. I may just love it forever and want to hang on to it. And maybe it just becomes the thing. But I want to be able to have the systems and operations in place and build something to scale and then be able to sell it and walk away one day.
Yeah.
So to that end, I'm working with a company right now, a group of dudes so skilled in their craft. They also love Jesus, which is really cool. And expert storytellers, brand architects, website designers, photographers, videographers, all of that. They are not going to be a cheap date, but they love Jesus. So take my money and help me grow. So I'm excited, man. It's there's a lot of moving pieces right now. And then you mentioned about coaching coaches. That's something I'm doing kind of on the side. Is I have a passion. I love coaching people. And I like coaching coaches. And when I was in the corporate world, I was always kind of a leader of leaders, always a mentor, trainer, that sort of thing. And there's a lot of good coaches out there who want to make a living for their family. Most Americans are fat and out of shape and need help. So the opportunity is there, but a lot of these guys have no idea how to run a business, and they have no idea how to market themselves. They have no idea how to post on social media in a way that engages people. And so I've been able to do that. And so I've started a mentorship program to help other coaches scale. And the idea is, hey, if you know your craft, you can make 6 figures coaching online within the first year. Like, you should be able to do that. Realistically, it's a simple math problem. It's 30 clients a month at $275 per average ticket. That's $8,300. That's $100,000 a year. That's doable. But it's only doable if you have a very systematic approach. You know exactly who you're targeting. You are crafting messages and stories to target them, that you understand all their pain points, problems, and frustrations, and then that you are then dismantling all of those things and showing them that where they are and where they want to be is not impossible to get to, and you have the resources to guide them there. And so it's not complex. It is simple, but it's not easy.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say are the most, like the 5 most influential business books or marketing books, or really anything for people who are trying to start businesses? Because I know people in our sphere, like you said, at your church, you have a ton of business owners. We have a ton of business owners. I have my own business. I build websites and do marketing and that kind of thing too.
Oh,
But
that's
it's
awesome.
just me. I'm a solo operation.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, well, I guess it depends on what you are doing, right? And who you are. For me, I'm an operator. So
Yeah.
I guess in the current role I'm a visionary compared to my other coaches because I'm sharing the broad vision. But when it comes down to it, I'm an operator, and a lot of sole proprietors, when they want to grow and scale, they don't know how to do it. I would say you need to read the E-Myth Revisited. It is so good if you've not read that. I'm really good friends. Shout out to Matt Reynolds from Barbell Logic. He made me read that book. So good. It identified all the things I struggle with, and I still see myself in some of those pages and know that it's things I need to work on. So that is really good. Everyone should read that because that's going to demonstrate the importance of putting all of your systems and processes on paper and then learning how to turn those into standard operating procedures that you then teach and delegate, and that you learn to delegate effectively. Otherwise, if you try to take on all the roles in your company while you grow and expand, you will shoot yourself in the foot. It will not work. Yeah. Alex Hormozy's $100 million offer, and what's the other one? I can't think of the title off the top of my head, but Alex Hormozy's are fantastic. He doesn't say anything incredibly novel, and I think why he's been so successful is because he's an excellent communicator. He doesn't really say a whole lot of new things, but he says it in a very short, punchy, accessible, memorable way. And so, I mean, oftentimes what makes you stand out as a presenter or a teacher or a coach or whatever isn't even actually the content, it's the presentation, how you deliver it, right? And is what you're saying memorable? Does it leave a meaningful impact? So he's really good at that. And then Russell Brunson, obviously, I think everyone would agree, is probably the best marketer on planet Earth. His book, Expert Secrets, was really, really helpful in helping me kind of understand what I'm doing when I'm giving information, and kind of got me bought into the idea that what I'm going to do is I'm going to give away as much free stuff as possible. And this is a little bit of Gary Vee coming in here too. I want to give away so much free stuff, so much valuable information that people can take, apply to their lives, and get immediate return on their investment, that they think to themselves, goodness, if I got all this for free, it doesn't even make sense not to work one-on-one with them. It would be so much better even. And so what I do is I give away the vision. I give away the strategy. I sell the tactics. Now, a lot of people don't know that I'm doing that. An expert marketer would. But a lot of people don't even understand the difference between strategy and tactics, right? Illustration I use is the United States government might go over to Afghanistan. Terrible example of how we did not accomplish anything there. But their strategy might be, we want to win the hearts and minds of the Afghani people. Cool. All right. That's one of the ways we're going to defeat terrorism is we're going to win the hearts and minds of the Afghanistan people. Mm-hmm. Okay. What's a tactic though? A tactic is the actions that you actually take on a daily basis. Okay. Well, we're going to go over there and we're going to build wells. We're going to build schools. We're going to give resources. We're going to give education. We're going to teach them how to farm sustainably. We're going to do all these. Okay. That's what you actually do. So for me, when I'm giving away information, I try to sell a vision of the dream outcome of what people could achieve. And I give them the strategy. You do this through quality nutrition, through resistance training, through blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. I know. But then the daily tactics though, like that's where it gets to the individualized coaching and accountability, because your daily tactics are going to look very different from the nurse who works 312s. Right. Her tactics have to look different. And so this is what I'm doing when I now have a targeted approach. Like what I put out now on social media has an intent. I'm not just throwing out stuff to see what sticks. Like there's an intent and a plan there, and it's working. And so that's one of the things I'm going to teach other people, so they don't waste their time, right? How to deliver actual value and grow your business at the same time. Because the more you grow your business, you can then impact other people, more people positively. So, this idea that, well, it's just selfish. You're in it for the money. Yes, I am. And so are you. If you weren't in it for the money, I would think that you're lying, because you have bills to pay and children to take care of, and that's a good thing. And so, yes, I am in it for the money. And along the way, I want to help as many people as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's great. I didn't expect us to talk business as much as we would, but this is awesome. That's so valuable. Even though you're in the fitness world, the principles that apply to business there apply everywhere else.
Absolutely. Well, it's like anything, man. Leadership is leadership is leadership. I hope I harp on leadership all the time with my coaches, because that's what it is. I mean, I've never worked in a steel mill. We have a steel mill not far from us. I am confident that I could get hired as some kind of middle management position or upper middle management and go in there and have 100 indirect reports that have all done steel work. I have never done steel work, and I know that I would be able to positively influence them because I know how to lead people. And, I understand what it's like to lead people from a place of subject matter expertise and then a place of non-subject matter expertise. Two different ways of doing it, but you have to go in there and you build relationships with people. You build rapport. You get vulnerable and say, hey, I don't know how to do this. Can you show me your job? Can you help me understand what you do? And you get alongside of them and you earn trust, right? And so, yeah, it's the principles for business and leadership transcend every industry. I don't care what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So something that kind of popped into my head while you were talking was there are a ton of fitness influencers out there on the internet. And I'm sure your clientele, especially like your online coaching stuff, isn't just local. I'm sure you reach people across the country. And so what is your goal for setting yourself apart from all of the other big dudes who obviously also have good stuff to say on the internet?
I don't know that it's necessarily like I have to be different, because you're right. There's 1,000 other people saying much the same thing.
Yeah.
I think it's about being consistent and being authentically who you are. So I teach my coaches a lot, like, hey, it's really important that, you don't be one-dimensional on social media. Now, granted, social media, everybody's sharing the highlight reel. I get that. Nobody sees the piles of dirty laundry and the kitchen sink full of dishes. I mean, Full transparency. This background is decent, but you know what that is right there? I'm in my unfinished basement. And if I turn this computer around, you'd see kids' toys everywhere. You'd see a shelf full of, okay, I got some peel and stick stuff from Amazon. Pop that up there. That's an IKEA bookshelf because I do a lot of podcasts and I want it to look nice. And when I rebrand, I'm going to get my logo in like a neon sign, like right there. And it's going to look really cool. But the simple fact is, this looks like a little mini recording studio. And if you could see the broader context, it's a messy basement. And so, social media is a highlight reel, but I don't think it needs to be fake. It is real. And so it's important to show your whole self, I guess. So what differentiates me is the fact that I'm me and I'm not the other guy. Right. And so I show pictures of my family and I show pictures of my little mini homestead and my other hobbies. And I'll share things I find funny. I'll share political views. I'll share theological views. I share all kinds of stuff so that people can get a sense of who I am as a person. And because when people raise their hands for coaching, realistically, when they're coming to you, they're saying, "Hey, I'm overweight. I'm out of shape, and I've been trying this on my own. I can't do it. I need your help." And there's vulnerability there. Like, I mean, there's some. It's nerve-wracking. It's potentially embarrassing, right? You're going to show your coach your progress pictures and you're 50, 60, 70, 100 pounds overweight. It's embarrassing. It's vulnerable. So that person better be able to relate to you. And so I want to show all of who I am because that will help people relate to me as a human being. I'm not just this meathead automaton that all I think about is the gym. No, I've got a family. I have other interests and other passions and other hobbies. And people could see that and go, okay, cool. Like he's a normal human being. And so I think that's really important. I would say the differentiator in what I'm trying to do with my business is individually, there's a lot of great coaches out there who understand health, even better than I do. But maybe they're just siloed. They only do bodybuilding. Or maybe they only do powerlifting, or they only do this or that. I want to build a brand, a company that no matter what your goal is, when you come into us, we're checking your blood work. We're going to be concerned with the 5 key biomarkers that indicate metabolic health. And no matter your aim, we are going to lead with health as the forefront. A lot of performance-based athletes don't care about health. They care about performance and performance only, right? If you tell the average 22-year-old powerlifting dude, if you drink a gallon of raw sewage, it'll put 100 pounds in your deadlift. He will do it. No questions asked because that's it. And so I want to kind of shift that and say, hey, I'm fully aware that at its extremes, any extreme sport is dangerous and unhealthy at its extremes. Okay. Your body is not meant to walk around with 900 pounds on your back. I've done that. It's not meant to do that. But acute stress is okay. It's when it becomes chronic and when it's unmanaged, when it's out of sight, out of mind, and we're not monitoring our health along the way. Everybody takes risks. Nobody's getting out of here alive. Some people take risks with Twinkies and sitting on their couch all day. I like to take risks with really heavy weights and stupid feats of strength. But along the way, we can be smart and mitigate risks. And so I want to build a brand that no matter what you do, no matter what your goal is, you want to be an Ironman triathlete? Cool. We have people to guide you and coach you and help you. And also we're going to monitor your health the whole way. And I firmly believe that if you are healthy at the cellular level, right? You're eating good quality, nutritious foods. Your health is good. Your metabolic health is good. Triglycerides are under control. Fasted blood glucose is under control. You're going to look good and you're going to perform better. So I would say that from a business perspective, like the leading with health is kind of the differentiator, is that we index on that first. But then as far as me personally, I'm just me. Like that's what differentiates me. I was talking with a good buddy this morning who has a lot more followers than I do on Instagram, and really good dude, super knowledgeable, kind of pretty siloed into the bodybuilding world, but very, very knowledgeable guy. And he and I say the same stuff all the time. We just say it in different ways, and he has a different audience. We have some overlap, but we're both out there fighting the good fight and preaching and getting the message out to different crowds of people. And sometimes there's overlap, sometimes there's not. I'm sure if I shared his posts and he shared mine, each of us would land differently to our followers, and it's going to resonate with some people and not others. And so I think it's the way that you differentiate yourself is just by being authentically you.
So everybody knows that, you should eat healthy and you should, strengthen your body. And we know it's okay to, or at least I believe, and you can disagree with me if you want, that it's okay to eat junk food sometimes.
Sure.
There's a time to indulge and whatever. Yep. But what would you say to the person who is just like an average person who thinks like, yeah, I should eat healthy and I should go to the gym, and just a normal person who's not antagonistic towards bodybuilding or anything like that? What is like 80-20 rule, the most that they could do to get healthy, the most efficient?
Well, everybody needs to do just a couple things like health and fitness. I'm going to simplify it for everybody right now. Like, it's so basic. The bar for physical fitness is low so that everyone can attain it. Mind your calorie balance. Okay. Don't eat too much. That's simple. Now we can get into the weeds of how we figure that out, but for now, just don't eat too much. And we all know when we're eating too much. 2, get enough protein. Just get your protein in. Okay. 0.8 grams up to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. Or if that's too confusing, what's your ideal goal weight? Eat that in grams of protein. Okay. That's really simple. 3, eat real food. Try to keep it single ingredient food. If your food had roots at one point or a mother, it's good. Okay. If it came from a lab, let's keep that to 10 to 20%. Right. I like junk food too, sometimes. Right. So that's from the nutrition piece. Then you should do something in the week 3 or 4 times for 20 to 30 minutes to get your heart rate up. I'm not talking sprinting. It could be, my favorite form of cardio is just walking on an incline treadmill and watching documentaries. That's not hard. Or throw a backpack on and go for a hike. It's a beautiful time of the year. You're not going to sweat too badly. Go for a hike. Walking is so underrated. And then 2 to 3 times a week for like 30 minutes, do some resistance training. Do something hard. Pick up a rock and walk. I don't care. You don't have to go to the gym. You could. So fitness is not abs. Fitness is not being shredded to the bone. It's not having a 400-pound bench if you're a dude. I happen to like those things, but they do not define fitness. Fitness is being a good steward of your body, objectively controlling the 5 biomarkers, which are your blood pressure, your fasted blood glucose, triglycerides, HDL numbers, and your waist adiposity, your waist size. Okay. So that's good health. And then fitness is just capability, man. Can you grab your wife out of a burning building? Can you do that? Can you pick up a kid in each arm and run to get away from a speeding car? Or do you get out of breath when you go check the mail? So fitness is capability. Like, so it doesn't need to be anything more than that, right? Like, again, it's easy to define a masculinity by abs and a big bench and, blue collar, whatever. And that's important. I mean, men do hard things. Men should have some kind of, I'm getting ready to speak at a church conference in Indiana in November. And I'm going to speak on the importance of men having some kind of martial virtue and physical prowess. Like, that's important. Yeah. But I don't want people to over index and think, well, I've achieved masculinity because I have abs or because I bench 300. It's like, no, that's good. Great. But that is not the sum total of fitness and capability.
Hey, thanks for making it all the way through the episode. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to stay tuned for the next episode with Coach Anthony Diehl. And if you want to hear more like this, consider subscribing to my Patreon to help me keep the show going. The link is in the show notes below.